Sneakers for me are just it's a way to express yourself. The first pair of sneakers that I really wanted when I came home were they uh they were like the Reebok Zigtech basketball shoes or whatever. You remember those things with the little zigzag on the bottom of them? So I wanted those, and like my mom's like, "Are you crazy? I'm not spending $100 on sneakers for you." And like it took weeks and weeks of convincing, and finally I got her to let me get a pair. And then like I was into sneakers after that too. I remember getting some LeBrons, some Jordans, things like that when I was in middle school. But like the sneaker that really, I guess, got me interested in sneaker culture and really made me a sneakerhead was the Yeezy 2s that Kanye did with Nike. Solar Reds were like just an unbelievable shoe to me. Like that was the perfect sneaker to me. I never thought I'd be able to own a pair, but like I love the Solar Reds. I love the Pure Platinums. The Red Octobers came out a couple years later, but I love the story behind them. That was my dream sneaker at the time. That was probably the sneaker that made me a sneakerhead. 2018, 2019, when I finally started making my own money and I could actually afford some of these sneakers. So that's when I really started collecting, and they started taking over closets and rooms and stuff like that. Before that, like I was always into them, but like I never thought I'd own a pair of Yeezy 2s. Really, it wasn't till I was at NYU. It was after the 2019 season, so my season ended in October in 2019 because I was running ARCA, and my classes where I'd go in New York City, I'd walk right by Flight Club every day, so I'd go in there, see what they got, different things like that. I didn't shop there a ton. I remember going there when I was younger, but I didn't really get a ton of sneakers. But they had a used pair of Yeezy 2 Pure Platinums in a size 12. And I wasn't sure if I was going to get them. I kept going back and forth on it, and ultimately I decided to. And they actually ended up being a tremendous investment too. I've made pretty good money on them. But like that was the first that was the first time for me like I got a shoe that was my grail, right? So I think a lot has changed in sneaker culture. Like when I first got into it, I couldn't imagine getting a pair of sneakers and not wearing them. Like I feel like resale culture wasn't as big. Like the resale market wasn't as big, and like so I couldn't imagine getting a pair of sneakers and not wearing them. Where now, like I have a lot of sneakers that I bought as investments. So I wear a lot of them, but there's a lot of them too that I'll buy and like I feel like they're going to go up in value, so I'll get them and sit on them, and it's like an investment portfolio for me. Like when I heard Kanye West was coming out with a documentary on Netflix, I felt like his Nike Yeezys were going to go up because of that, so I bought as many of his Nike Yeezys as I could, and they have since then. The past couple months they've gone up. Michael Jordan stuff did the same thing with documentary, and honestly, like through the pandemic, I feel like the pandemic was an accelerator for getting people involved in sneaker culture and like kind of getting into the community, right? So like the sneaker community now is bigger than it's ever been. It's different than it was, but like I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's bigger than it's ever been. And I think the pandemic had a lot to do with that. A lot of people had a lot of time. They got it. Like I remember a lot of what I had went up in value a ton through the pandemic. Sneakers are art, right? It's art that you can wear. It's like a lot of the watches you could buy now. It's a lot of, like it's a different way to express yourself. And when these designers are like Virgil Abloh was an artist, Kanye West is an artist, right? Like these guys really, like they really are art. It's just produced on a different scale, right? You don't really walk into a store and buy sneakers anymore. I feel like where like I used to go to Flight Club a lot and things like that, where now most of what I buy off of StockX and GOAT. So for me, it's just that it's easier you can place a bid. So like, I feel like most of the places that you can actually go still walk into, you pay more than you need to in a lot of cases because they're upcharging you for having them there, right? Like they have to pay the overhead to have the store and pay their employees and everything else. Where like a StockX or a GOAT, they're basically just a middleman, right? Like they don't have a giant stock of sneakers in a lot of cases. So they're really just authenticating sneakers from other people. And it's easy to sell too, because you don't have to put them on consignment. You can put up your lowest ask, right? The least amount you're willing to take for your sneakers. And you wait for somebody to accept that. And once they do, you ship it to StockX. They verify it's authentic. They send it to the seller and they give you your money. So it like the ease of use is just really good. So like that's something that I just feel like it's streamlined the ability to buy rare sneakers. Like there's still some sneakers that take me a while to find, but usually it's that they take me a while to find for the price I want to pay. It's not that they're super hard to find. Like most of these sneakers, if you don't have a budget, you can go buy them off StockX. There's usually a lowest ask, right? So I think that's the biggest thing that changed, is it's not that it's so hard to find some of these anymore. It's just like it's made it easier to find some of these sneakers, and it's also made it easier to see what they're worth, right? Like what's the value of a pair of sneakers? And the easy answer is something's only worth what somebody's willing to pay, right? That's it. And on StockX or GOAT, you can always see what that highest bid is, so you always know what they're worth. So that's something that's been easy for me too, where like prior you go into a store to sell them, you don't really know what they're going to give you or what they're not. Like on StockX and GOAT, you have a pretty good idea. My sneakers are my investment portfolio in a lot of ways, right? So it's really the difference though between sneakers and an actual investment portfolio of stocks and things like that is I actually have a physical asset in my house, right? So there's some liability that comes with that. If my house gets broken into or there's a fire or something like that, I don't lose my stock portfolio. I do, however, lose my sneaker portfolio. So that's where wax insurance comes in, right? So I have wax insurance and I can take out insurance policies on all of my sneakers. And it's really easy because basically I take pictures of them, they verify that they're authentic, and they give me a policy. So I pay on that policy, and then as I sell sneakers, I can super easily within the app take them off of my policy so they're no longer insured, but I never have to worry about if there's a fire, if somebody breaks in, like I'm covered. So like that was one thing that made me super comfortable putting a lot of my investment portfolio into sneakers as well.